I love that I'm struggling to just do the sky and it's literally just solid blue. I do not feel confident. The day I have had. Sometimes things go wrong and you're able to just brush it off, move past it, get on with your day, sort out what you need to sort out. Other times, things go wrong and it feels like the universe is just out to get you for some reason. Today I'm experiencing the latter. I've been trying to think of what core comforts make me feel better, and then I remembered what outfit I wore today. And honestly, if I hadn't have put my Hobbit outfit on today to fuel me with whimsy, I think today would have cracked me. So I have decided that I'm gonna dial the Hobbit core up to 11, and I'm gonna spend the remainder of my day listening to the Lord of the Rings soundtrack and attempting to paint the Shire. And I emphasize attempting because I have no actual painting experience. This will probably turn out terrible. We are just here for the relaxations and the comforts. So if you also feel like you need to escape from the world, join me in my den of delusion whilst we relax and paint. Now, I don't have an easel, but I do have a coffee table and a wall and some little pumpkin weights to hold it still. We make do. I have got a 2-hour Lord of the Rings soundtrack ready to play. I've printed a reference picture to work off, and I 1000% chose this specific picture because it features a pumpkin right here. And that is also something that brings me great comfort and joy in life. Don't have a paint palette, do have an egg carton. I've been meaning to buy one for ages. This is like the 5th time I've had to use an egg carton. This table is not big enough. Can I just tuck you in there? Because that would be really helpful. Oh yeah, that's the stuff. Now, I'm no expert, obviously, but I feel like if I work my way from the top down, I might come out with something decent. We're gonna start with doing a blue base for our sky, and then we'll start putting the hill shape in, and then we'll start doing some of the top trees, and we'll work our way gradually down lower and lower with all the details. This is the bluest blue I ever did blue. My soul, man. As you can tell, the soundtrack had an immediate effect on me. This is it. This is all I needed. I feel loads better. Unfortunately, I can't leave the soundtrack playing whenever I talk to you because copyright police will come for me. I also don't wish to worry anyone with my melodrama because I feel like I might have been a bit over dramatic with how I started this video. Everything is fine. I've had one of those days. My oven broke, kind of stressed me out. Mostly pissed me off, and I just needed something to lighten my spirits a little, and this has definitely done the trick. The blue definitely isn't right, but I also don't know how to make it right. I'm really not good with knowing how to mix colours. My instinct is telling me to add purple, but I don't know why. I don't know, let's see what it does. Oh, this is gonna be a mistake, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I love that I'm struggling to just do the sky and it's literally just solid blue. I got to a point where I felt pretty good about the sky, and then the second I put the land on, it felt like, oh, this is just going to be a 6-year-old's painting. I also got a little paint on my pumpkin. It was bound to happen. I thought it would be a good idea to get some of the trees in, and that's when I realised that my thinnest brush really is not that thin at all. I have to admit, I am hitting a point where I'm struggling a little bit because I really don't know how to paint and I don't know what to do. How do I get all of these layers of land? That seems difficult. This bit's darker, so let's just brush some dark over here. I just want to be at the point where I get to paint all of the trees and bushes in, because that seems like the easiest part. This is really bad. Get away before I get paint, because this is really bad. Yikes. Anyway, music back, I'm starting to feel stressed again. Seriously, when was the last time you listened to the Lord of the Rings soundtrack? Because if the answer isn't today, it has been too long and I'm assigning you homework to go listen to it. I had no idea how to paint the land, so I thought that if I blocked out sections, it might help me a little bit so I could tackle one area at a time. I hope you're all ready to see how terrible this looks close up. You're about to get a close-up. Still didn't really know how to paint the land, so I procrastinated by putting the base for the door and pumpkin on instead. I then procrastinated further by skipping ahead to the trees. The trees were looking very flat, so I tried my best to add some of the sunlight you see in the picture. Finally brave enough to tackle the land, I started by using multiple shades of green to build up the grass. I also started marking in some more of the pathways and realised I didn't like where I put the pumpkin, so I covered that over. Obviously, Hobbiton is very hilly, which I found very difficult to show through paint. I started adding a few more distant bushes and trees to help show how the land curved and stretched off in the distance, but it was still really difficult to show the effect. This is roughly how far I've gotten so far. It looks really, really bad up close. But if you take it back here, then it's further away from you. Good morning, lovely people. I have actually run out of Lord of the Rings soundtrack to listen to because I listened to it all yesterday, but that is not going to stop me listening to it today as well. I only did about maybe 4 hours of work yesterday because I did start quite very late in the day. I think I've made pretty good progress for that. Today, I really need to sort out the path because the colour's completely wrong on that. I'm really dreading trying to paint the door because at least with nature, everything's all wibbly and undefined and it can look like anything. with a solid structure, that has to look right or it will just look wrong. I do not feel confident. Once I figured out the door, I will then put a little bit more detail in the trees. I finally get to put my pumpkin in place and then add on all of the flowers, and then we should be finished. I'm aware this is no masterpiece, but I also think that's kind of great because this is something that has really lifted my spirits after a bad day, and I feel like as a species, we really need to get back to just being able to enjoy things because we enjoy them and because they are relaxing rather than because we are good at them. You know, you can be bad at something and still enjoy it. Sometimes it is okay to just suck. Anyway, enough monologuing, let's paint. That shrug was me accepting I couldn't get the shade of brown any better than this after 10 minutes of mixing colours. Apparently, I didn't actually charge my spare battery, so we aren't gonna have the camera for at least an hour whilst the battery's charged. Right now I'm just putting some highlights in the trees. Okay, holding this is already aching my arm and my phone is now also dying, so I'm just gonna check in later. Currently attempting to paint the little Hobbit door in. It's not fantastic, but it's also not awful. There's potential in there. I'm also sorry that I can't actually film the process of this. To be fair, I did start this video by telling you the universe is against me right now. At this point, you may be wondering, hey Soph, why not just put your phone on a tripod so the footage doesn't shake? Well, my inquisitive friend, I would have loved to, but I broke my phone tripod the day before. It was just one of those weeks. Too bad I didn't do this on paper, because if I had, I could just cut it off here and say finished. Really not enjoying this like bottom area because there's loads of plants around here that all look exactly the same. And I'm really struggling to paint them on. By this point, I really needed to put some of the darker tones and shadows in, primarily around the bushes. Bushes proved to be the hardest part of the painting. I redid them so many times and I just could not get them right. In the end, I kind of gave up and painted in any plants or bushes to fill the space and stopped trying to replicate the picture because that was clearly going to be beyond my skill set. And finally, I added some shadows and sunlight to the background as well. I'm gonna go ahead and call this finished. Today I have learned that I really suck at adding shadows with paint because that shit is hard. Overall, I am kind of surprised by how well this has turned out. Again, don't get me wrong, I know fundamentally I have no actual painting skills because I've never learned how to paint properly, but for an amateur, I'm happy with this. I have also experienced a lot of technical difficulties today, so I dread to think how much footage I actually managed to get because I don't think it was much. Editing should be fun. Let's get a closer look at this. And we're done. I love my new painting. It's so colourful. I'm actually going to put it up in the studio. My plan is to put it... That's interesting. Here, upon the wall, so it will be opposite me when I'm working at the table. So I can always look up and have a little bit of colourful comfort in the studio. I have no idea what this audio is going to sound like because I've just realised the little fluffy foam bit of my mic is missing. So I'm going to go look for that in a second. Thank you so very much for watching along, especially as this isn't my usual kind of video. I really enjoyed just relaxing for a bit and painting, and like I said, this video definitely lifted my spirits after a rough week. For anyone who's wondering / invested, I am still working on Alphaba. She is taking a very long time, but she's looking so freaking cool. I cannot wait to share it with you guys. For anybody who does like seeing sneak peeks before a project is finished, I do tend to share stuff on my Instagram story as I'm working throughout the day. If you do not like seeing sneak peeks, don't go to my Instagram, you will not like it over there. Well, that is everything from me because I do have to get back to work on Alphaba now. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see some more of my videos, and feel free to leave me a comment down below. Hope we're all having a wonderful winter this far, and I will see you all in my next video. That almost sounded like I knew what I was doing. Trying to create an atmosphere here. Has enough not gone wrong today? You will light. That's what I thought. It's really hard to hold this and paint at the same time. Good news! I found the little foam thingy. Now I can do the voiceover.